The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber opened with a deep rumble that echoed through the vast hall. Commander Jake Harrison stepped inside, his black uniform crisp and clean despite the long journey from Earth. Behind him walked Dr. Lisa Shang, her hands steady as she carried the data tablets containing everything humanity wanted to share with the galaxy. The two humans looked small in the enormous room filled with alien beings from across the stars. High above them, hundreds of different creatures sat in curved seats that formed a perfect circle around the center floor. Some looked like giant insects with clicking mandibles. Others appeared to be made of living crystal that sparkled in the chamber's bright lights. There were beings of pure energy contained in shimmering fields, massive reptilian creatures with scales that changed colors, and many others that human eyes had never seen before. The air itself felt heavy with the weight of thousands of years of galactic politics and power. These beings had controlled space for longer than humans had existed as a species. They had seen countless younger races come before them, asking for recognition and a place among the stars. Most of those requests were granted eventually. After proper respect was shown and appropriate tributes were paid, Commander Harrison walked to the center of the chamber where a small platform waited. His footsteps sounded loud in the suddenly quiet room. Every alien eye sensor and energy field focused on the two humans who dared to stand before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Harrison had practiced this moment for months, but nothing could have prepared him for the feeling of being watched by so many ancient and powerful minds. Hi. Consul Vextai rose from his seat, his crystalline body catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns across the walls. He was the leader of the Zephyrian Empire, a race that had mastered faster-than-light travel when Earth was still covered in ice. His voice rang out like bells, beautiful and cold at the same time. "So these are the humans," Vextai said, his tone making the words sound like an insult. "The newest species to crawl out of their gravity well and demand recognition from their betters." A rumbling laugh came from the section where the Gorvani delegation sat. War Chief Thokmar stood up, his massive body covered in natural armor that had evolved over millions of years of warfare. Each of his 4 arms ended in claws that could tear through metal. His red eyes glowed as he looked down at the humans like they were insects. "Look at them," Thokmar growled, his voice like grinding stone. "No claws, no natural weapons, no armor. Their skin looks like it would tear if you breathed on it too hard. How did such weak creatures ever manage to leave their planet?" More laughter filled the chamber. The ethereal collective speaker, a being of pure energy called Luxandra, added her musical voice to the mockery. "Their application claims they have achieved interstellar travel, yet our scouts report they have barely established a few mining stations on dead rocks in their own system. They call this space exploration." Dr. Chang stepped forward, her voice calm and professional despite the hostile atmosphere. "Honored delegates, while humanity may be newer to space travel than your civilizations, we bring unique perspectives and capabilities that could benefit the galactic community. Our adaptability and problem-solving abilities have allowed us to thrive in environments that silence," hissed the Krillian delegate, a reptilian creature whose scales shifted from green to angry red. "We have studied your species' history, human. You excel only at killing each other. Your planet's surface bears the scars of countless wars. You have poisoned your own air and water. You create weapons capable of destroying all life on your world, yet you claim to be civilized." Commander Harrison felt his jaw tighten, but he maintained his diplomatic training. "Every species has faced challenges in their development. Humanity has learned from our mistakes and learned." Vextai-esque crystalline laughter cut through Harrison's words. "Your species is currently engaged in 17 active conflicts. Your governments cannot even agree on basic principles of cooperation. Yet you stand before us claiming to represent a unified world." The Gorvani war chief leaned forward in his seat, his massive frame making the reinforced furniture creak. "Tell us, little humans, what military might do you bring to the galactic community? How many worlds have you conquered? What enemies have you defeated in glorious battle? Harrison straightened his shoulders. Humanity does not seek conquest. Honored War Chief. We believe in peaceful exploration and cooperation between species. Our military exists primarily for defense, and the chamber erupted in mocking laughter. Even the energy beings seemed to flicker with amusement. Thokmar slammed one of his massive fists on the arm of his chair, causing a sound like thunder. Defense! He roared with laughter. They speak of defense when they have never faced a true enemy. What would you defend against, humans? Asteroid strikes? Solar flares? Your entire species has never faced a threat greater than yourselves. The ethereal speaker's energy field pulsed brighter. Our analysis of human technology reveals crude chemical rockets, primitive nuclear reactors, and weapon systems that would barely qualify as tools in civilized space. You have achieved nothing that other species did not accomplish thousands of years ago. More voices joined the criticism. A delegate from the Centauri Syndicate, a species that looked like walking octopi, waved several tentacles dismissively. Their fastest ships would take decades to travel between nearby star systems. Their communication technology relies on electromagnetic radiation that travels at light speed. They are primitives playing with fire. Dr. Chang tried once more to defend humanity's achievements. Our technological development has been rapid and innovative. In just 60 years since our first space flight, we have established permanent stations throughout our solar system. Our research into 60 years, interrupted another delegate, this one from the hegemony of steel, a race of mechanical beings. We achieved interstellar flight in less time than that, starting from a completely pre-industrial society. Your progress is not impressive, it is embarrassing. High Consul Vexthai raised a crystalline hand, and the chamber fell silent. His rainbow reflections danced as he looked down at the two humans. The Galactic Council has heard enough. Humanity's application for membership is denied. You may return to your little system and continue playing with your primitive toys. Perhaps in a few thousand years you will have developed enough to warrant our attention again. The formal vote was a mere formality. Every delegation raised their hand, tentacle, or energy field in rejection. The decision was unanimous and absolute. Humanity was not welcome among the civilized species of the galaxy. As Harrison and Chang were escorted from the chamber by floating security drones, the alien delegates were already discussing other matters. The humans were forgotten before they even left the building. Dismissed as just another primitive species that had reached too high too soon, walking toward their small diplomatic vessel, Dr. Chang glanced at her companion. They have no idea what they just did, do they, Jake? Harrison activated his secure communicator as they reached their ship. Sol Command, this is Liberty 1. The Council has made their decision. Recommend we proceed to Phase 2. The response from Earth came immediately, calm and professional. Understood, Liberty 1. Humanity has been insulted. Humanity will respond. Return home immediately. As their ship lifted off from the spaceport, neither human looked back at the massive city below. They had more important things to think about than wounded pride. They had a message to deliver, and that message would change everything. 6 months had passed since the humiliating rejection at the Galactic Council, and the alien civilizations had already forgotten about the primitive humans from the small blue planet. Trade continued between the great empires. Territorial disputes were settled through the usual diplomatic channels, and life in the galaxy moved forward as it had for thousands of years. The brief entertainment provided by humanity's failed application was now just a footnote in galactic history. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, however, something very different was happening. In the vast underground complex known as Sol Defense, Command General Patricia Moore stood before a holographic display that showed the true scope of humanity's preparations. The chamber stretched for kilometers in every direction, filled with the quiet hum of advanced technology and the focused activity of thousands of military personnel. The hologram showed star charts that the Galactic Council would never have expected humans to possess. Red markers indicated the positions of alien military installations, trade routes, and population centers throughout a 50 light-year radius from Earth. Blue markers showed something far more interesting: the locations of humanity's own hidden assets scattered throughout space. Colonel Steve Martinez approached the general with a datapad in his hand. His face bore the quiet confidence of a man who had spent years preparing for this moment. General, all stealth dreadnoughts are reporting full operational status. The alien inspection teams never detected any of our vessels during their visits to the system. General Moore nodded as she studied the tactical display. How many ships are we talking about, Colonel? 47 fully operational stealth dreadnoughts, ma'am. Each one equipped with technology that our friends in the Council would find very surprising. The fusion pulse drives alone give us capabilities they never imagined we possessed. Dr. Rachel Stone joined the briefing, her hands still covered in the blue residue from her latest weapons testing. As Earth's chief weapons engineer, she had spent the last decade developing systems specifically designed to counter alien technology. Her smile was the expression of someone who knew secrets that could reshape the galaxy. General, the kinetic bombardment platforms are in their final positions, Dr. Stone reported. We have tungsten rods positioned around every major alien world within our operational range. Each projectile weighs 50 tons and can achieve 90% light speed using the fusion pulse acceleration system. The general raised an eyebrow. Impact yield? Equivalent to nuclear weapons, but completely undetectable until the moment of impact. No radiation signature, no energy buildup that their sensors can track. Just pure kinetic energy delivered at relativistic speeds. Captain Tony Blake entered the briefing room, fresh from his latest reconnaissance mission to alien space. His uniform bore no insignia that would identify him to alien observers, and his ship had been disguised as a simple cargo hauler. For months, he had been gathering intelligence on alien military capabilities and tactical doctrines. Report, Captain, General Moore ordered. Blake activated his own holographic display, showing detailed scans of alien fleet formations. The enemy fleets are impressive in raw numbers, General, but their tactics are completely predictable. They rely on overwhelming firepower delivered through massive formations. They've been fighting primitive species for so long that they've forgotten how to deal with an adaptive enemy. The captain manipulated the hologram to show specific alien vessel designs. Their ships are built like floating fortresses, heavily armored and armed, but slow and inflexible. They expect their enemies to meet them in direct combat where superior firepower decides the outcome. General Moore studied the alien ship designs with the eye of someone who had spent her entire career thinking about how to destroy things. What? About their defensive capabilities? That's where it gets interesting, Blake replied. Their shields are powerful but operate on fixed frequencies. Their armor is thick but not adaptive. They've never faced an enemy that understands the concept of asymmetric warfare. Dr. Stone stepped forward with her own analysis. Based on the biological samples we collected from each alien delegation during their visits to Earth, we've successfully developed targeted neurological weapons for every major species. The Zephyrian's crystalline neural networks, the Gorvani's redundant brain stems, the Ethereal's energy matrices, we can disable them all without harming human personnel. The general turned to face her staff officers. They called us weak because we're made of flesh and bone. They dismissed our technology as primitive. They forgot that evolution doesn't always favor the strongest, it favors the most adaptable. Colonel Martinez received an incoming transmission on his secure communicator. His expression grew serious as he listened to the report. General, we're detecting massive fleet movements throughout alien space. Intelligence suggests they're planning some kind of military demonstration near our outer colonies. What kind of demonstration? General Moore asked. The kind designed to force us into complete submission, Blake answered. Our sources indicate they want to make an example of humanity. Show the galaxy what happens when a primitive species gets ideas above their station. Dr. Stone's smile turned predatory. They want to intimidate us into surrendering our colonies and accepting their authority over human space. General Moore. walked to the main tactical display and studied the positions of human and alien forces throughout the local region of the galaxy. Red enemy markers vastly outnumbered blue human positions, but the general's expression showed no concern. She had been planning for this moment for years. "They're going to attack our colonies to force us into submission," she said quietly. "They think a show of overwhelming force will make us bow down and accept our place as their inferiors." Colonel Martinez nodded. "The Zephyrian Fourth Fleet is already moving toward Mars, 300 ships, including their flagship, Celestial Dominion. Admiral Kethril is commanding the operation personally." "Perfect," General Moore said. "They're providing us with the ideal opportunity to demonstrate humanity's response to threats against our people and our territory." The general activated the base's communication system, connecting her to military commanders throughout the solar system and beyond. "All units, this is Sol Command. Operation Fury is now active. Repeat, Operation Fury is now active. All stealth assets are cleared to engage hostile forces upon my command." Dr. Stone checked her weapon systems one final time. "The neural disruptors are ready for deployment. The kinetic bombardment platforms are locked onto their targets. The stealth fleet is positioned and waiting." Captain Blake pulled up the latest intelligence reports. "The aliens are moving exactly as we predicted, General. Large formations, predictable approach vectors, complete confidence in their technological superiority." General Moore's expression was calm as she prepared to give the orders that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. "They wanted to see what humanity was capable of when pushed into a corner. They mocked our flesh and bone construction, called us primitive, dismissed our achievements as irrelevant." The command center fell silent as everyone waited for the general's final decision. On the tactical displays, alien fleets moved toward human space like predators approaching what they believed to be helpless prey. They had no idea that the trap was already set and waiting for them to spring it. "Signal all units," General Moore commanded. "Humanity has been insulted. Humanity has been threatened. Now humanity responds. They want to see fire and fury. We'll show them exactly what those words mean when applied by the species that conquered an entire planet before any of them achieved spaceflight." The countdown to humanity's answer had begun. The Zephyrian Fourth Fleet emerged from hyperspace near Mars in a display designed to terrify any primitive species into immediate surrender. 300 massive warships materialized in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls reflecting the red light of the planet below. At the center of the formation, the flagship Celestial Dominion stretched for over 2 kilometers, its weapon arrays clearly visible and powered up for battle. Admiral Kethril stood on the bridge of his flagship, his crystalline body pulsing with satisfaction as he surveyed the human colony scattered across the Martian surface. The small mining stations and research facilities looked pathetic compared to the overwhelming firepower now pointed at them. This would be the easiest military operation in his long career. "Open communication channels to all human installations," Admiral Kethril commanded. His musical voice carried the absolute confidence of someone who had never faced a serious challenge in battle. "Tell these primitives that they have 1 standard hour to surrender their colonies and accept Galactic Council oversight. If they refuse, we will demonstrate why defying their betters was the last mistake their species will ever make." Captain Danny Roberts received the ultimatum aboard Mars Defense Station, a facility that looked more like a research outpost than a military installation. His crew of 20 humans watched their sensors as the massive alien fleet positioned itself in what appeared to be an unbeatable formation. To any normal observer, the situation looked hopeless. "Admiral, this is Captain Roberts of Mars Defense Station," he replied calmly. "We'll need to consult with Earth Command before responding to your generous offer." Admiral Kethril's crystalline features flickered with amusement. The human's calm response was either incredible stupidity or misplaced bravery. Either way, it would make no difference once the bombardment began. "You have exactly 1 standard hour, human. After that, we begin systematic destruction of your pathetic colonies." Perhaps watching your installations burn will teach your species the proper respect for superior civilizations. What Admiral Catherall did not know was that he had just positioned his fleet in the center of the most sophisticated military trap in galactic history. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt, disguised as mining equipment and debris, 47 human stealth dreadnoughts powered up their weapon systems. The ships were completely invisible to alien sensors, using technology that combined reverse-engineered alien components with uniquely human innovations. Colonel Amy Foster commanded the stealth fleet from the bridge of the USS Retribution, a vessel that looked nothing like the primitive ships the aliens expected humans to possess. Her tactical display showed perfect targeting solutions on every enemy vessel. The trap had been months in the making, and now the aliens had walked directly into it. "All ships, this is Retribution Actual," Colonel Foster transmitted on the encrypted human frequency. "Target designation is complete. Each vessel has multiple targeting locks. Remember, we want some survivors for intelligence gathering, but they need to understand that threatening humanity was the worst mistake they'll ever make." The alien fleet maintained their intimidating formation, completely unaware that they were being watched by dozens of human weapon systems. Admiral Catherall spent the hour reviewing his battle plans and imagining the terror on human faces when his fleet opened fire. The primitive species would surrender immediately once they saw the true power of civilized warfare. At exactly 1 hour, Captain Roberts responded to the alien ultimatum. His voice carried across space with the calm certainty of someone who knew something the aliens did not. "Admiral Catherall, Earth Command has reviewed your offer. Our answer is simple and final: no." The single word had barely finished transmitting when the trap exploded into action. 47 stealth dreadnoughts decloaked simultaneously around the alien formation, their weapons already trained on specific targets. The first salvo of kinetic rounds and plasma torpedoes struck before the aliens could even begin to react to the sudden appearance of the human fleet. The Celestial Dominion, pride of the Zephyrian Empire, took a direct hit from a relativistic tungsten rod that punched through its shields and armor like they were made of paper. The massive projectile caused a cascade failure in the ship's primary reactor, and the 2-kilometer vessel began breaking apart as secondary explosions rippled through its hull. Admiral Catherall found himself thrown across his bridge as his flagship shuddered under the impact. Emergency klaxons wailed as damage reports flooded in from every section of the ship. His crystalline features flickered with shock and disbelief as he realized his mighty fleet was under attack by forces he had dismissed as primitive. "All vessels, emergency retreat," he managed to broadcast before another human ship targeted his communications array. "We are under attack by unknown human forces. Repeat, the humans have military capabilities far beyond our intelligence estimates." But there would be no retreat. The human fleet had positioned itself to cut off every escape route from the battle zone. More Zephyrian ships exploded under the precise fire of weapons designed specifically to exploit weaknesses in alien technology. The humans had studied every aspect of Zephyrian ship design and developed counters for each defensive system. The smaller Zephyrian escorts found their energy weapons completely ineffective against human, reactive armor that adapted in real time to incoming fire. Their shields, designed to stop conventional projectiles and energy beams, offered no protection against the exotic matter torpedoes that human scientists had developed in secret laboratories. Colonel Foster watched her tactical display as alien ship after alien ship either exploded or surrendered. The battle was proceeding exactly as human war games had predicted. The aliens had grown complacent after millennia of fighting primitive opponents who could only meet them in direct combat. "Target the command ships first," she ordered her fleet commanders. "Let the smaller vessels see their leaders fall. Break their command structure and their will to fight." Human ships swarmed through the alien formation like deadly sharks, their smaller size and superior maneuverability allowing them to strike at will while avoiding return fire. Each human vessel carried weapons specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses that Captain Blake's reconnaissance missions had identified within 30 minutes. The largest fleet deployment in Zephyrian history was either destroyed or surrendering. Admiral Kethril, his flagship crippled and drifting, managed to reach an escape pod as his command ship finally broke apart completely. The proud admiral who had come to intimidate primitive humans now fled for his life from the very species he had dismissed as inferior. Colonel Foster opened a communication channel to the surviving alien vessels. Attention Zephyrian forces. This is Colonel Amy Foster of the Soul Defense Force. You came here to intimidate us with overwhelming force. Instead, you've learned your first lesson about humanity. We don't surrender, we don't back down, and we never forget when someone threatens our people. The few surviving Zephyrian ships that could still move began broadcasting surrender signals. Their crews, trained for easy victories against primitive opponents, had no idea how to respond to an enemy that fought with such devastating effectiveness. News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours through the alien zone communication networks. The impossible had happened. A species the Galactic Council had dismissed as primitive. Barbarians had just destroyed the most powerful military force the Zephyrian Empire could deploy. In council chambers and military headquarters throughout civilized space, the same question echoed among leaders who had grown comfortable in their assumed superiority. If the humans could destroy a fleet of 300 advanced warships, what else were they capable of that no one had suspected? The destruction of the Zephyrian Fourth Fleet sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, but instead of seeking peace, the major powers decided that humanity must be crushed completely before this dangerous example spread to other species. Emergency sessions were called in every major government, and within days, the largest military alliance in galactic history was formed with one purpose: the total elimination of human civilization. War Chief Thokmar of the Gorvani Empire took command of the joint operation from his massive flagship Bloodfang. The ship was a testament to Gorvani military engineering, armed with weapons capable of cracking planets and armored thick enough to survive direct hits from stellar weapons. Around him, 2,000 Gorvani warships prepared for what their leader promised would be the final battle against human arrogance. The humans think their primitive ambush tactics will work against the combined might of 6 civilizations. Thokmar growled to his assembled fleet commanders. His 4 massive arms gestured at the holographic display showing the approaching armada. We will show them the price of defying species that have ruled the galaxy since before their sun was born. The Krillian Imperial Navy contributed 1,500 ships to the alliance, their reptilian crews eager to prove their superiority over the upstart mammals. Admiral Vorth commanded the Krillian forces from his flagship Scalebreaker, a vessel designed specifically for destroying heavily fortified positions. The ship's main weapon could punch through the core of a planet. The Ethereal Collective brought the largest contingent of all, their energy-based vessels numbering in the thousands. Unlike the physical ships of other species, ethereal craft were pure energy contained in force fields, capable of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their commander, Overlord Zarthax, believed that beings of pure energy could never be defeated by primitive flesh and blood creatures. Other civilizations added their own forces to the alliance. The Centauri Syndicate provided their advanced sensor ships and electronic warfare platforms. The hegemony of steel contributed their automated battle drones and self-repairing warships. Even smaller powers sent whatever forces they could spare, united in their determination to crush humanity before the infection of defiance could spread. The combined fleet that assembled for the assault on the Sol system was the largest military force ever brought together in galactic history. Over 8,000 ships from 6 major civilizations, carrying enough firepower to sterilize entire solar systems. The alien commanders were confident that no force in the galaxy could stand against such overwhelming might on Earth. General Moore coordinated humanity's defense from the expanded Luna Command Center. The facility had grown dramatically since the first alien attack, with new sections carved deep into the moon's core. Massive holographic displays showed the approaching enemy forces, but the general's expression remained calm as she studied the tactical situation. "They're coming exactly as our psychological profiles predicted," she informed her expanded staff. "Large formations, overwhelming numbers, complete confidence in their technological superiority. They still don't understand what kind of enemy they're really facing." Lieutenant Sam Morgan, Earth's youngest tactical genius, presented his analysis of the enemy approach. "The alien formations are following classical deep space battle doctrine. They expect to engage our forces in open space where superior numbers and firepower will decide the outcome. They have no experience fighting an enemy that refuses to play by established rules." Captain Lisa Johnson, now commanding Earth's planetary Defense Network, reported on the status of humanity's hidden weapons. "All kinetic bombardment platforms are in position around major alien homeworlds. The moment they attack Sol, we glass their home systems. The neural disruptor satellites are also ready for deployment." The alien armada arrived at the edge of the Sol system, expecting to find desperate human defenses concentrated around Earth and the inner planets. Instead, they encountered what appeared to be completely empty space. Human colonies seemed abandoned, their installations dark and powered down. Even Earth itself showed minimal energy signatures. "Where are the human ships?" Admiral Vorth demanded from his command bridge. "Our sensors show no significant military presence anywhere in the system." "Have they fled already?" War Chief Thokmar studied his own tactical displays with growing confusion. "Impossible. Our intelligence indicated the humans had at least 50 combat vessels. They cannot have simply vanished." The answer came in the form of the most devastating surprise attack in galactic military history. The abandoned installations throughout the system suddenly blazed to life, revealing themselves to be massive weapons platforms disguised as civilian structures. Simultaneously, the asteroid belt erupted as hundreds of hidden human ships decloaked and opened fire from point-blank range. Commander Kevin Hayes led the first wave from his ship, USS Vengeance, a vessel that incorporated technology stolen from every alien civilization. "All units, execute Operation Scorched Earth. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home system." The battle that followed redefined warfare for every species in the galaxy. Human ships, smaller and faster than alien vessels, swarmed through the massive enemy formations like angry insects. Each human craft carried weapons specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in alien technology that years of covert intelligence gathering had revealed. The mighty Gorvani battleships, with their legendary armor and massive guns, found themselves helpless against human ships that could phase through their shields using stolen ethereal technology. The Krillian vessels discovered that their energy weapons were completely useless against human reactive armor that adapted faster than their targeting systems could compensate. Most shocking of all, the ethereal collective's energy beings began falling unconscious as human ships broadcast neural disruptor frequencies on specific wavelengths. For the first time in their existence, beings of pure energy experienced the helplessness of biological creatures facing superior technology. War Chief Thokmar watched in growing horror as his flagship shields failed under concentrated fire from a dozen human vessels no larger than his ship's escape pods. "All vessels, retreat immediately," he broadcast desperately. "The humans have capabilities beyond anything in our databases. They are not what we believe them to be." But retreat was impossible. As the alien fleets attempted to flee the killing zone, they received emergency transmissions from their homeworlds. Earth's kinetic bombardment had begun simultaneously with the space battle. Tungsten rods traveling at near-light speed were striking military installations, government centers, and industrial complexes across dozens of worlds. The bombardment was precisely targeted to cripple military capabilities while leaving civilian populations largely unharmed. Human intelligence had mapped every important facility on alien worlds, and the strikes demonstrated a level of tactical knowledge that terrified the surviving alien commanders. Admiral Vorth's flagship exploded as human plasma torpedoes overwhelmed its defenses. The proud Krillian admiral died, never understanding How a species his people had dismissed as primitive had developed weapons that made his advanced technology look like toys. Throughout the battle zone, alien ships surrendered or died. The largest military force in galactic history was being systematically destroyed by an enemy they had fatally underestimated. The message was clear: attack humanity, and humanity would respond with devastating force. Against everything the attackers held dear, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after the devastating defeat of the largest military force in galactic history, the Galactic Council chambers were a place of fear and whispered conversations. Representatives who had once mocked humanity now spoke in hushed tones about the species that had turned their ordered galaxy upside down. Empty seats marked where proud civilizations once sat, their representatives either dead or too terrified to attend council sessions. High Consul Vexthai stood before the remaining delegates, his crystalline form dim and flickering with exhaustion. The leader of the Zephyrian Empire had aged centuries in just months. Watching his civilization's military might reduce to scattered patrol ships hiding in distant systems. His voice, once musical and confident, now carried the weight of absolute defeat. The humans have demonstrated capabilities that surpass our greatest achievements, he announced to the nearly empty chamber. Their kinetic bombardment of our military installations was precisely targeted, devastating our defenses while leaving civilian populations unharmed. This suggests tactical knowledge and restraint that we never imagined possible from a species we dismissed as barbarians. Sub-Chief Grokhan spoke for what remained of the Gorvani delegation. The massive warrior's armor bore scars from the battle where his people's greatest fleet had been destroyed. War Chief Thokmar was dead, along with most of the Gorvani military leadership, leaving their empire in chaos. Our entire fleet structure has been eliminated, Grokhan reported with the voice of a broken warrior. 70% destroyed, 25% captured by human forces. The humans have reverse-engineered our technology and are now building ships that surpass our own designs. Our shipyards lie in ruins, our weapons factories are silent. On Earth, President Jennifer Martinez addressed a joint session of the United Nations and the newly formed Terran Defense Council. Behind her, holographic displays showed human colonies established on 43 worlds throughout what had once been alien-controlled territory. The expansion had happened with stunning speed, human colony ships protected by fleets that made alien warships look like ancient relics. 6 months ago, we were dismissed as primitive barbarians unworthy of recognition, President Martinez stated calmly to the assembled delegates. Today, we control more territory than any single alien species, and our technology has advanced beyond anything the galaxy has seen in thousands of years. General Moore, now promoted to Supreme Commander of all Terran forces, presented the strategic situation to the global leadership. Our stealth fleets have successfully occupied or neutralized every major alien military installation within 100 light-years of Earth. The captured alien technology has allowed us to advance our capabilities by centuries in just months. Dr. Stone, leading the expanded Human-Alien Technology Integration Project, reported on their latest achievements. Using captured alien manufacturing techniques combined with human innovation, we've developed weapons and defensive systems that make us effectively invulnerable to any known alien technology. We've also successfully integrated their faster-than-light communication networks with our own systems. Admiral Blake, formerly Captain Blake, now commanded the Terran expansion fleet from his flagship USS Dominance. We've made contact with 17 species that were previously controlled by the major powers. They're requesting human protection and offering to join what they're calling the Terran Liberation Alliance. The news of subject species rebelling against their former masters sent additional shockwaves through what remained of the galactic power structure. Civilizations that had ruled for millennia found their authority challenged by races they had considered permanently subdued. The human example of successful resistance was spreading like wildfire through the galaxy. Back in the Galactic Council chambers, the remaining delegates faced their worst nightmare when the massive doors opened to admit a human delegation. This time, however, the humans were not supplicants begging for acceptance. They came as conquerors dictating terms to the defeated Admiral Sarah Williams, entered the chamber wearing the uniform of the Terran Federation, humanity's new interstellar government. Her honor guard of human marines carried weapons that incorporated technology from every major alien civilization improved and perfected by human engineering. The sight of humans walking confidently through halls where they had once been mocked sent terror through the assembled aliens. Honored delegates, Admiral Williams began, her voice carrying the quiet confidence of absolute power. I come before you not as a supplicant, but as the representative of humanity's rightful place as the dominant power in this region of space. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Those who had laughed at human weakness now faced the reality of human strength turned against them. The species they had dismissed as flesh and bone primitives had proven that intelligence and determination could overcome any technological advantage. Hi. Consul Vexthai attempted to maintain some semblance of diplomatic protocol. Ambassador Williams, surely we can reach some accommodation that serves the interests of all species. The accommodation has already been reached. Williams interrupted with the authority of someone who spoke from a position of overwhelming strength. The Galactic Council will formally recognize the Terran Federation as the preeminent military and political power in this region of space. You will respect our territorial claims and our right to protect species that request our assistance. The silence in the chamber was complete. No delegate dared to speak against demands backed by the military force that had crushed their combined fleets. Williams placed a data pad on the council table with ceremonial precision. These are humanity's terms for peace. You have 72 hours to accept them completely, or you will discover that our demonstrations of fire and fury have been merely warning shots compared to what we are truly capable of. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Admiral Williams delivered her final message to the beings who had once dismissed her species as unworthy of notice. You mocked our flesh and bone construction, calling us weak primitives. You dismissed our technology and laughed at our achievements. You threatened our colonies and our people when we sought peaceful recognition. She paused, allowing her words to sink in among the terrified alien representatives. Earth's answer was fire and fury delivered with the precision and determination that has defined humanity since we first looked up at the stars. You have learned what happens when you underestimate the species that conquered an entire world before any of you achieved spaceflight. As the human delegation left the chamber, alien representatives sat in stunned silence, realizing that their galaxy had fundamentally changed forever. The species they had mocked as primitive had become the dominant force in their region of space, and they had only themselves to blame for awakening humanity's potential for both innovation and destruction. High above Earth, massive shipyards constructed vessels of human design while alien ships arrived daily carrying delegations seeking alliance with the new galactic superpower. The same civilizations that had once considered humans beneath notice now desperately competed for humanity's favor and protection. Humanity's message to the galaxy was complete and final. Mock them at your peril, for their answer would always be fire and fury, delivered with the intelligence and determination that had carried them from a small blue world to mastery of the stars.